Already back in.
We're good. It
I'm
stopped,
sorry.
but we're good. Go ahead.
Okay, we
I
got a
didn't
walk.
complain, I was just saying it
Well,
stopped.
It started in 2014 with trying to get this grant. That's the first time that sewer plant was ever involved that I know of getting a grant like this. And we had a walk around and we had a wish list. Me and Bucky made a wish list, some stuff we wanted done. For a long time, our influent plume that we have for the plant had grown a little bit. I'd say it was too small and our flow wasn't getting the correct reading. We could only be accurate up to 500,000. So that was my concern. So Jerry come down there, I said, Jerry, can you fix this for me? I want a partial flume.
No, wait, I'm sorry, you're talking.
A partial flume.
But you're talking
That
about
would get,
Mr. Warren, right?
Right.
Oh, okay,
that was where we was gonna get this grant. This is my wish list.
okay,
He said, yes, sir, I can fix that for you.
okay.
And the next step was diffusers, that turned out great. In the mixed liquor basin, we had to have diffusers put in, had to clean chlorine, the mixed liquor basin out. And we also had to have a, or, I might have somebody see that.
Okay. They just got started. So they're talking about a grant that they applied for,
Right.
and I guess Mr. Warren came in to help with that, is that what you're?
All right. Before we went on, all this was discussed, and he said he could do it, and we talked about the pumps, and we got a little basement down there that we used to pump from the primary clarifier. They hadn't worked right. I was hard in '97, and they hadn't worked right then. He said he could take care of that. And we had a South Carthage flow meter put in, and that was okay. But when it boiled down, when we went through all that stuff during construction, I'll go with the flume here. The polymer bolus flume, and that combines all the South Carthage and the Carthage. It all comes together, and it's measured at that time was a polymer bolus flume. And to get it corrected,
Just so I don't know.
that's just a type of flume.
So a flume is like a.
Yes.
If you look on page 2,
The next
there
page.
is a partial
like a
flume.
funnel.
What it does, it flows the water down, and
So
you
this
have
is
an
a-
ultrasonic signal that reads the flow, depending on how
It's
it
just
is.
right here.
This is it then?
Right.
Okay.
That's what I wanted.
That's what we wanted, that's
Okay,
what was
okay.
supposed
To
to
get the
be
correct-
installed.
Okay.
To get the correct flow, because we was only accurate up to
Gotcha.
maybe 600,000 or a little more.
Okay.
And he said he could do that.
And as far as we know, by this base bid schedule, that project was $20,000. That's the only price we have on it. Okay.
Okay, and the day they come to install it, I went out there to clean off the bar rack. I don't know if Steve was with me or not. and
Yeah,
I
I was
said,
there.
I looked at it, I said, you surely ain't put, I said, what's that? He said, that's your partial flume. I said, you put that in, I said, my sewer water will be running in a row in about 30 seconds.
It's
He
too
got-
small.
Had a 3-inch throat. He
So it
got to
wasn't
look-
like this one?
That's it.
Oh,
That's
that is-
That's
it.
similar to it,
Okay.
but we
it's
needed
smaller.
one with a lot bigger throat, and he's,
Okay.
so Cumberland Valley Construction stopped construction on it.
Did you specify what size you wanted, or?
That was the
his
engineers,
design.
that was up to
His
them,
design.
but I told them, when they brought it down there, and when they was fixing to install it, when they was fixing to put it in, I said, that throat's way too small. So they said, wait a minute, let's go back to drawing board, so they went and checked, and they said David Pine had estimated it for low flow instead of maximum flow.
They designed it
So-
wrong.
All right, is that Jerry's
It's his
responsibility to have gotten it right? I assume?
Absolutely,
Okay.
because I asked him, I said, I want a partial flume, he said, no problem.
And his man, Jeff Oglesby, said, we'll have to make another one, and when we get it, we'll put
Right.
it in. That's what we were told that day.
And this has been made by Jerry Warren's company.
Or Cumberland Valley, we don't know, see, Cumberland Valley got to bid.
Mhm.
They was, that's ones who I food with every day, Randy Week.
But we were told they were gonna make another one, so we were happy with that, as long as you make another one, get it in.
Right,
Because that also affects the new sampler we'll get into.
right. And as time went on, it kept on going on, and we wouldn't get no partial flume, and I was getting frustrated this time.
If you
And I
look at the
said,
next picture, you'll see what they left. When they left construction and didn't come back, we had a piece of plywood that'd been cut with skill
Yeah,
saw.
that's it.
That was our,
That's what this is?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the improved one. The one
Here,
before
The
that.
very next page, right, partial flow.
Unless I missed a page
So
on
this
yours.
is what they did.
There you go.
And what did we pay for this?
I ain't got
As far as I
this
know,
far. Let me get a
$20,000, because that's
Well,
what we had when
I know what I can do for a living.
Well, let me go back a little bit further. Even before it got this far, I told him, I said, well, can you put my other one back in? So he said, I can't. I said, why? He said, I tore it up.
yeah.
And then they was going back and forth with it, and we got this first. And I said, I gotta have something to get our flow, to get our samples flow proportional. And then the next step was this, and that's fiberglass right there.
But you can see, when you go to measure flow, you gotta have an accurate, you gotta have something
Yeah.
cut accurately, like a
Fiberglass.
60-degree angle.
That looks like a piece of fiberglass that's been cut with a skill saw
That's
and
it.
4 holes drilled.
And that was took out about 3 weeks ago. I finally got Wascon now
So we are paid for this?
oh, we paid for this back when they left the construction job, as far as I know.
What are you doing?
I mean, I went in on the
But it
money
took
part,
about, it
but,
took about from when they left, about 16 months later.
yeah. Once they left, it took us 16 months to get them to even come back down there to address this.
And I would call, I wouldn't call every day. I didn't wanna worry, but I'd call, and I was always put on the back burner.
And Ricky would see them at the council meeting. And he let the construction guy know that he was not happy, and he passed it along to Dawn and them.
Okay, and then we'll get to the, if anybody's got any more questions about this balloon here, before we go to the,
Well, right now, we're waiting on Wascon to send us a bill. They fabricated us out of stainless and made us a 60-degree cut V-notch to put in, so we can try to get an accurate flow. Because the flow coming in and the flow going out, we gotta be within 10% in order for the state to say we're within our permit, so.
Is this covered? Go ahead.
And just make sure, are you saying they took out the old one and they put it back in, and then they were supposed to put a new one in, they just,
They didn't
and
put
then
it in.
you asked for the old one back and they said it was already busted?
tore it up.
So they
get
took an
out.
old one out, busted it, okay.
Yeah.
And
But they
what-
started with the plywood and that
It's
didn't
plywood.
work.
And we
they
can
left
show,
us what we
we can
have.
show that we paid for this too.
It's in that book, ain't you? You got it right there.
As far as I know, now they can go look at the records of when people got paid, but this is what I finally had to break out and go through. This here's the plant they give us as far as the
That's what-
project book.
Can I see it?
Sure. And
That's when they.
I got looking
plant
through it, and that's
construction.
what I finally brought down to Mayor Dennis and Michael Rages to get Jerry and Jeff back down there. They come back down the next day after I brought this down here 16 months later and said, well, we hear y'all want to see us. Yeah, we might want to see you. We got a mess out here. And we actually have been in violation for 16 months because we couldn't get a flow proportional sample. We couldn't get the right flow reading.
So Steve, just, is that what we're talking about, 22,000, or is provide you the fluent sampler, is that what they charge for that?
No, if you look at the next one on, it's got number 3, provide and install new influence sampler. It's, for $13,800 on the number 3 project.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, the product that you process has a water base. And how in the world can anybody consider using plywood of any quality with a water base?
We thought they were coming back with another partial plume after they engineered it. That's what we were
Yeah.
told. They will we'll have to make another and we'll come back and put it in.
Yeah, that's supposed to be a temporary fix till we
Yeah.
got the partial plume that we wanted with the size throat that we
Plywood
wanted.
was, it's supposed to be temporary.
Temporary fix, supposed to be, but.
How long was it in?
That wood,
The wood to the plywood was how long?
well, it was
So
after they put in the
wood to the-
fiberglass they put in, I
fiberglass.
think, when they brought the mag meter.
Okay,
So it was probably 17, 18 months.
so and then you get on your time frame is a question.
Yeah.
If you read that manual.
Because when they came down after 16 months, they told us they were working on the radio station project then. They were starting to finish it up, that little station. That was about $600,000, I think. And he said, well, I think we're gonna have a little money left over up there. We're gonna try to put you in what they called a mag meter, which would be compatible with the sampler. He said, that way you can do your flow proportional samples and we think we can get your flow accurate enough. And of course, me and Ricky at that time was thinking, you-hoo, anything's better than nothing, you know? So, they had Casimir Company out of Lenore City to come down, and then they had Randy Weeks with Cumberland Valley, came back. That's when he put the piece of fiberglass in, and then he mounted this, velocity sensor down in the bottom of the trough. And then they come up and they had the, new brain and everything and run a cord over the sampler. So we was finally getting flow proportional. Casimir is the one that calibrated everything. So we thought, well, we're better than we were. And they put it in October 2016, and it started turning up in November 2016, December. Well, come January or February, I got it wrote down, they had to come back. The velocity center went completely out. They had to put it back in. And so now we've got a meter that's nothing but problems. We've had all kind of problems with it. And go ahead, Ricky. I'll look and find a little information on that real quick.
Okay, so I'm gonna go over here to the,
Anybody want to see this? It's got some more details in it, but.
All the information I need right here.
okay. I'm gonna jump onto this one here, Rich, got the, we was replacing the pumps in the basement. We had 2 pumps down there that pumped from the primary clarifier. Like I said, I was already 97 and they never did pump right.
We on number 4, Ricky?
This one, yeah.
Okay.
Number 4.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll get back to that,
Oh.
what Steve's looking at right now. And, I mentioned several times, I said, we probably need to clean out the primary clarifier first and check that line. I thought that was what he's gonna do. One day, we was down there and they come in, they had them pump, and they was putting them in a pit. I said, you ain't gonna check primary clarifier first line? Oh, no, we gonna install these pumps first. I told Steve, I said, they get them new pumps installed, they won't pump a drop. And sure enough, they did. Fool with them and fool with them. I told Randy, I said, we need to check them lines. He said, well, he didn't bid on that. Well, some way or another, I got talking with Jeff, and we got Les Fisher to go down there with, and they done take the backhoe and dig up a little piece and go with a camera, and they got back so far and it just went dark. They had run into sludge. So Randy hooked up some kind of compressor with air to push back through it, and Jeff said, well, it's open now. So they took their line out, hooked it back up, wouldn't pump a drop. So that went on for a long time, and when they got finished down there and got ready to leave, he was packing up his tools. I was coming back from lunch, Randy Week was fixing to leave. I said, Randy, what are you doing? He said, we're done down there. I said, I got 2 brand new pumps down there that won't pump a drop. What are we supposed to do? Well, you keep putting your hose pipe on it and let it run back. It may open up. I said, man, that pipe is solid. That went on, so he packed his tools up and left. And that went on a
Paid for
while.
this? too?
As far as I
You
know,
what
we paid for
I checked,
everything.
But, I said, we can get this done, so Les come back down there and dug the spot back up, brought his wash truck down there. You know what he did? He opened that line up. But Randy Weeks said he didn't bid on that. That's like taking a car somewhere and having it worked on, and they can't fix it, and they say, well, I can't do that, bid on it. But that was part of
Yeah.
it. You're putting in 2 pumps that's gonna be pumping from the primary clarifier. What are you gonna do first? You gonna drain this tank here and check your lines before you install 2 new pumps.
And when this problem, when y'all started on this process of taking care of this problem, I assume that Warren and Associates, were the ones that did the engineering that said that we needed 2 new pumps?
I told him we have pumps in the basement that won't pump a drop, and I mentioned us cleaning out them basins and the line first, but they brought 2 pumps first.
And they even when you said you gotta clean this out before you put it in.
I said, we need to check that first before we, the old pumps might have
And
worked.
so, in the engineer's schematic, they did not think to,
You would think engineers would know all that, but I mentioned it, I said, that needs to be checked, but Les Fisher had to fix it.
is it still bad?
He said he already paid for it either.
Well, he's a little bit cheaper.
That was fixed in-house.
Okay, now, is it working now?
Yes.
Yeah, we got the line unplugged.
Okay.
So that was the answer to the
Yeah,
problem.
we may not need the pumps to start with.
Right.
But
So
It's
we
like
We finally
they
cleaned the
put-
line out
so-
in-house, we got it cleaned out.
All right, so this is not anything, I mean, we just need to be aware of it, but it's not anything.
Well, we installed 2 new pumps that when the contractor left, he was through with us, and I said, what about these pumps? And he said, well, I didn't bid on cleaning them lines
So
out.
if I'm hearing right, if we had maybe cleaned out the lines, you might not have needed the pumps, is that?
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, how much were the pumps, do you know?
34,800.
He's got it right here.
This is the only paper I have with any cost from that, and that may be a preliminary cost, they may have changed it, but we don't have any paperwork on
So
that.
you're talking about right
I don't know
there.
if we can find the final.
And out of that, I wonder what Warren and Associates made on that deal.
You know, I don't.
Well,
Well,
Up here it's got, was
we
it
can check that.
34,800, Steve?
34,800.
34,800.
What did he get, like 15%?
I don't know.
At least, yeah.
This is just some, we just want you to see
Just
some of
leaving
our
us with a-
frustrations we've
you know,
had to
well,
So
deal
this,
with
this
trying
one's been
to
fixed, but
get things
it
done.
costs us a lot of money. This one's still not fixed, we need to get it fixed.
Well, the mag meter they put in, getting back to it was put in October,
I'm not talking, I was talking about the
the Headworks
flume.
flume. We don't have a flume, but I do have a 60-degree V-notch that's been made out of stainless, and we just put it in a
But
track.
they come out and put this the correct way, don't they?
Well, that would be nice, but
When we pay
I've
for it.
been
Right.
trying to fix it with our money as cheap as I can.
Okay.
Because that's what we've been having to do with everything.
This
got
is
one.
fixed, but we just need to be aware of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, this is just,
Yeah,
we
we
want
fixed
y'all
it
to see where
in-house.
we've been, and we don't wanna go there going forward, is what we're saying. We're saying going forward, we need to look,
So-
try to be a little more.
So we could have maybe
Wascon's
saved
come down and
34,000
cut
if
us
we had
out a
cleaned the line
true
out first, because we
60
might not
Sure.
have needed the new pumps.
V-notch.
Is
Right,
that what
but
you're
like I say, this was,
Right.
I come
Does that
in
look
during
true to
the
you?
construction end of it, and Ricky was there a lot more. But right now, we still have a mag meter that they put in, they took money from the radio station project, put in this mag meter on October the 13th, 2016. Well, February the 20th, 2018, that's about, 16 months? 37 weeks it had been fully operational, 28 weeks it hadn't been fully operational. Either it wasn't doing a full proportional sample, it wasn't sending a signal through the analog output. We just had all kind of problems with it. And the first thing we realized is once the first problem we had, nobody come work on it. Nobody. And, and Jerry would forward the emails, and Jerry would get a hold of people. I'm not saying he didn't, but it would end up, at the end of the day, it'd end up on me and Ricky. So we had to have our flow meters calibrated every year. The state makes us have them calibrated. So I got a hold of Casimir, since they was the one that brought this. And I said, what will y'all charge us to come calibrate our flow meters? And while you're here, we'll get you to look at this mag meter. So they charged us $800 to come calibrate our meters. And the guy that come, the tech, looked, and he said, well, your analog output has gone bad. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna send you one in the mail, and if you have trouble putting it in, call us. Well, that become the warranty. Ricky can tell you how many days I stood up there in the cold heat.
Rain.
I'd call Nebraska, well, check this, you know, and I said, I'm not into electronics. I don't know what I'm doing here, but
Warranty work.
I'm doing all this testing. Well, it sounds like this is bad. We're gonna send you one in the mail, and when you get there, if you have trouble putting it in, just call us back. So I went to Jerry, and I said, Jerry, listen, if you go buy a new car, and you take it home and it tears up, and you call the guy you bought it from, and he said, wait a minute, let me put the mechanic online here. And he said, well, Jerry, go out there and pop the hood, get your screwdriver, do this and that, and we're gonna send you a part. I said, that's how I feel, because this is getting to be every other week.
Headache.
We eventually got, one of the reps from Nebraska was coming through. He flew into Nashville. He come down, he looked at our whole system. He said, yeah, your sampler interface has gone out again. We was having a lot of problems with that. And he said, I'm gonna get them to send you another one. He made a few suggestions. We did that. And I told him then, because it was about to run out of warranty. We only had a 1-year warranty. And I said, what about our warranty? You know, I told him all the problems we'd had. He said, well, ISCO will work with you because y'all had so much trouble, and you've got 6 months warranty on this interface. And that was in October of probably 17. February 18, it goes out again.
About every 3
And
months.
like I say, Jerry worked with us. Jerry was sending the emails. I'm not saying he wouldn't, but at the end of the day, They wanted the whole unit sent back. I said, fine, well, they wanted a PO number. I said, no, I'm not giving no PO number, because I think it's still warranty work, you know? And that kinda got to be a runaround, and, finally Michael Ray sent him a PO, but he told me, Michael Ray said, I'm giving them a PO, but I told him there better not be a bill come across his desk. Well, eventually, bill come across his desk. First I seen was where ISCO sent a work order, what it was gonna cost. I've got it, I can look it up, it's about $300 and
Did we
something
pay that
dollars.
bill?
Hmm?
Did we pay that bill?
We did, didn't we?
Well, it was approved by the town of Carthage by Jerry Warren.
Yeah, he approved it.
I've got it, I've got the paperwork where he approved for the town of Carthage by Jerry Warren, and then when Michael Ray said,
He can't do that.
he
can't
said,
do
where
that.
do you suggest this money comes from? And
Are
he
you
says,
sure?
well, you could get it from the sewer department maintenance,
Steve,
out of
excuse me.
maintenance at the sewer department. And I told Michael Ray, I said, where are we going here?
I'm sorry, you
You know.
said Jerry? He can't approve bills.
I've got a copy of it.
Well,
If
no,
you'd
I'm
like to
just,
see it,
that's why,
I'll
make
find
sure I
it.
heard you. Right. No,
But
that's okay. I just
somewhere or
wanna make
another.
sure I heard you correctly.
Steve wouldn't
Okay.
give him a PO number, because he
But-
said it's
but-
warranty
Well,
work.
that's
His
okay.
name was on that PO.
Yeah.
This is,
I do
this is our
remember that.
frustrations that, I mean, this is just with that job. We're still having problems with the mag meter. So I eventually had a meeting with the Mayor Dennis, Michael Ray, Jerry, and Jeff. And I come down and I said, listen, the mag meter's just not cutting it. So here's what I'd like to do. Can we put a partial flume in and go back and use our old Hydro Ranger, which is what we still got mounted that we used to get our flow with? And they said, no, you can't do that. We can't, he said, we can't put a partial flume in out there without tearing the concrete up. I said, so the job you engineered, you couldn't do. He said, well, basically. And then Jeff said, you'll have to tear it out all the way back to the lab to fix that down there. So I basically got nothing.
He nickel and dime $100
Productive.
bills with it.
So I went back and I called Labtronics, which is, we use them a lot for calibrations, and I got Adrian Pratt, who does this for a living. He calibrates headworks and everything, and I said, I need you to come up and look at our headworks, and I want you to suggest to me how we fix it. And, so Adrian come up and stayed a half a day. He called engineers, he called other people in the business, and basically our headworks, the concrete on each side is 6 inches thick. We got enough depth. So he suggested having a company to come in like Wascon or Southern Sales, let them take concrete saws and cut 3 3/4 inches off each side. That would still leave us right at 3 inches concrete. And then you could put a partial flume in, but it'd be a 9-inch throat, would handle 1.9 million gallons.
That's what he's talking about.
So I'm trying to find a solution. And he said, that meter in that trough, he said, you never put anything down in the bottom of a trough on your raw. He said, because you got rags, you got debris, you got everything in the world coming in that's gonna mess up your readings. He said, now, they use them sometime in effluent going out as a temporary, but he said, that's not a permanent fix. So, to me, he was my expert, I was getting my stuff from, and he gave me a way to maybe go about putting in a partial flume. But at this time, we thought money-wise and where we're looking at the future, we're still just trying to get where we can get 10% of our flow. So I had Wascon to make us a deal, and our readings are getting better. If the mag meter goes out again, especially on that sampler interface, I'm probably just gonna go back to the Hydro Ranger, because, you know, Jerry told us, I didn't know about this. He told us we couldn't use the Hydro Ranger with that new sampler, because the Hydro Ranger gives you milliamps signal, and the new sampler is in pulses. It reads by pulses. So by the flow coming in, the milliamps is counting it, and it's got to send pulse. Well, I'm not into electronics, but Adrian said, oh yeah, you can do that. He said, they make a cable that'll come out of your sampler, and it'll go into your flow meter. So, I mean, you come to the plant, and you seen that sampler I got from Lebanon? That's what we did. We bought a $120 cable.
The one right in the back there that they, yeah.
We're getting the signal coming to the flow charts in milliamps, and then that cable's turning it into pulses, so we're getting a flow proportional. I mean, I've learned a lot during this deal, whether I needed to or not, but I mean, at the end of the day, we still got the mag meter. It's not working real good. I mean, the history of it's real bad. And like Ricky said, the pumps we're using, because we got the line open, And the sampler, right now, we finally got it working, but I think a lot of our frustration was just 16 months, we couldn't get nobody to come back and do anything.
So Steve, if I, just because I don't quite understand all the terms. So
That's what that cable
we
he's
paid
talking about.
$34,000 for this mag
That's how we
meter
get
that
it
never
read.
really worked properly and never got the service that you need. is
I don't know what they paid for the mag meter, that, they put that in
We-
to try to fix the problem, the $20,000 problem where we didn't get the partial
So that was a
claim.
fixed problem that already existed.
That was try to fix it.
But it didn't work either.
Mhm.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
So these are like educated guesses to fix it, and they get them in there, they pay a bunch of money, and they ain't work, it don't matter.
Well, like I say, we were frustrated at that point, and they finished the radio station, which I didn't, we really didn't have anything to do with that. They put the new wet well and stuff in. I guess my biggest thing, if you'll go to the picture of that tower there, when I first went up there to walk around, they put the control panels at the very top. And I can understand that to get it out of the flood zone, and the tower was already there. That's part of our old lift station.
So where is this one?
Right.
No, where is that one?
That's at Upper 30 Road, radio station.
This is the old one.
No, this is the old one, but when they put everything up at the tower, they didn't put us no steps. We had this 1970-something ladder, it didn't have no cage around it, so I said, hey, that's gonna be a TOSHA violation as soon as they come up here. And all of our work we're gonna have to do is gonna be up there, so I just,
This is what you added, the ladder?
we added
Oh,
steps.
that one, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just asked Jerry if he could put us some steps up there, and he said, well, I don't have no money. And I said, well, you know, I'm gonna have to deal with TOSHA if they come up here, because you can't safely get up there, you gotta be tied off.
Four has to have a handrail.
Is this is his project right here?
No,
Yeah.
that was already there.
That was already
That was
there.
already there.
Okay.
And,
This is what, that was.
So this, to
what
start
he
out,
needed.
these stairs
See,
weren't
these
there.
are together.
No, this is what we installed, town
We
of
just
Carthage.
installed it on Town of
Yeah.
Carthage did it.
But my
Okay.
thing was, when I asked him why he didn't put no
He didn't get
steps, he
the
said, we
money
didn't
from
ask for
to do
it.
that.
And I said, well, I wasn't here when the project
Yeah,
started,
no,
but I
for a
didn't know
long
we had to
time.
ask for a safety, something to do with safety. So anyway, he didn't have no money. I seen these laying down here around Sam's, told Les got a hold of somebody, Town of Carthage bought them, Town of Carthage installed them, and they worked great, and it took care of that safety problem. And, so that was my first, I guess, big thing up there. The only other real problems we've had up there,
Is this one then? What is that?
That's the old one.
That's
the
that's the
old
old one.
Gotcha, okay.
Right, and then we put the steps where you could go up the steps.
About this.
We had a lot of problems with the pumps
Yeah.
after they put them in. I think in 2018, we had 25 different times that we either had to get Wascon to pull the pumps or the VFDs went out. Most of the time it would happen at 11 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock in the morning, went Ricky. I mean, you know, when we get the alarms, we have to go check them. And once again, I mean, we would pass it to Jerry, Jerry'd pass it to somebody. I'm not saying he wasn't in the loop. I'm just saying at the end of the day, the town of Carthage always ends up spending more money to fix it.
Well, the thing is like, we're paying for a safe, secure mine. Just to be like, okay, if something messes up, we're paying premium dollar to make sure this is fixed, and then it's like, well, I don't know how to do this.
We ended
That's
up,
essentially what's,
on those starters. I think Wascon was putting in what the specs called for.
I mean, is it like, well, I know expertly that you need to do this, you need to get this part, you need to do this, and they get in, well, I don't know how to fix that, and it's kind of like, you know, well, I mean, it's like you're the expert here, but you know,
Yeah.
when it don't work, you're not an expert, you know, like, and that needs to be in the future,
Yeah.
like, that needs to be addressed, like,
Well-
okay, well, what if this doesn't work when we're looking at work, like, what's the backup plan A, what's backup plan B, what are contingency plans?
Well, with the money he's gotten paid, he needs to know enough of what he's doing that it works.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a lot of money.
he's gotten, what, $550,000 out of this city in about 4 years, and he's doing stuff that doesn't work. I just,
Yeah. And our frustration with me and Ricky also was seem like the more we pressed it, the more we became the problem. And we're just trying to do what's best for the town. You know, we get paid to run the sewer plant, try to keep good with the state.
Electrical engineers,
And,
you know,
But we ended up with Wascon, they give us extended warranty.
They sure did.
They came and pulled those pumps
They give us a 2-year extended warranty.
forever. You know, they would come, the way they were made, if the
Because
least,
they
if
have
a
so much
sock
trouble.
got in them, when it ramped down, when it went to ramp back up, it'd be plugged. So we'd have to take them out, you know,
Yeah.
so we continuously fool with that. Well, we finally got Jerry Craven, the owner of Wascon, said, I'm gonna try something. So he put a soft starter in, one away from the VFD.
Yeah.
We run it for 8 months, never had any problems. So he come and sat down with us. He said, first of all, I want the town of Carthage to be happy. We're gonna do whatever it takes to make y'all happy. And that's why we like working with Wascon. They've been really good. And he said, but we put that one in, it seems to be the answer. We've got another pump, we need to put another one in to, you know. So we worked a deal with them that we would buy the starters, they would put the labor. And since then, them pumps haven't stopped. The only problem we had was today with the line getting plugged up. And I think that was from construction, from what all we got out of it. But that's pretty much, I guess, our 2 projects that we did through loans or grants, whatever you might want to call them. Going into the future, we kind of went over what we got going forward.